What's going on, Muscle Monsters? Alain Gonzalez here, and today I want to talk about progressive overload on compound movements versus isolation movements, and why it's a lot easier to progress in your heavier lifts than it is in your isolation work. And to a lot of you guys, that might be pretty common knowledge. However, I do want to dive a little bit deeper and kind of go into how I would recommend increasing the workload on your smaller isolation movements. All right, but let's start with what types of movements there are. There are the compound movements or multi-joint movements, and then we have the isolation movements, right? Typically with the multi-joint movements, we're involving more muscles, right? So obviously with any compound movement, we are going to be able to move more weight quicker than with any single joint movement or isolation movement, right? Then another thing you have to consider is what muscles are involved. So even if we're looking at two compound movements, you might be able to increase the weight on one faster than the other depending on what muscles are involved. So your squat might be able to go up a lot faster than your bench press, again because of the muscles involved. Okay, now let's go back to the isolation movement in comparison to a multi-joint movement. If you look at a bench press, right, let's say you work up to from 220 to 230, that's a 10-pound jump, and you're probably going to be able to make that jump because it's only a 5% increase. Well, it's less than 5% of an increase, right? Now, if you try to make that same 10-pound jump on, say, for example, dumbbells for curls, you're doing 10s and now you're going to 15s. Now we're talking about over a 30% jump, right? So it's pretty obvious why it's going to be easier to increase our bench press by less than 5% than it would be to increase our bicep curls by 30+%. Okay, so that should be pretty basic stuff. But now let's talk about how I would recommend to increase, for example, your bicep curls. Okay, here's what I would do. Start off with a weight that you can do for about 8 reps for 4 sets. Okay, so let's say you're curling 10 pounds each hand, 4 sets, 8 reps. Well, instead of the next time coming in and trying to do 15 pounds for the same 8 reps, I would stick with that same weight and now try to go for 10 reps. Okay, you might not be able to hit all 10 on all the sets this time, but maybe next time, and just keep working yourself with the same weight until you're able to hit all the sets for 10 reps, right? Now let's work up to 12 reps, okay? Now you might be able to hit 2 sets for 12 or for 11, and then the last 2 for like 10, but the point is to continue to add reps, and you can eventually see that you'll hit those 12 reps. Now when you finally hit all 12 reps on all the sets with good form, go back to the 8 reps with a heavier weight and work your way back up. Okay, so that's probably the most basic way that I would recommend to increase the load on your isolation movements. Another thing I would recommend is rest pause sets. All right, rest pause sets are great because you can add more reps to a specific set to increase that work capacity, and you're also increasing the total volume that you're doing. All right, I'm not going to go into how to perform them, but essentially you're working, say for example, your 8 reps, taking a 5-second break and then pumping out as many more as you can, and doing that 2 or 3 times at the end of the set. All right, and again, what that's going to do is allow you to add more volume into that one working set, build up that work capacity, and essentially produce more workload and more growth. And that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, click the like button below. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.